Okay, YouTubers, I am Chef Ryan Andre, aka the Kayaking Chef, and this is going to be my maiden voyage for my YouTube channel. We're going to cook up some largemouth bass that we caught yesterday. I know I didn't get any video of that, but I'm going to show you today how to cook some largemouth bass in your own kitchen and make it restaurant quality. Let's get started. Alright, let's go check the ice chest, see what we caught yesterday. Okay, alright. I know a question you're going to ask. Kayaking Chef, I got a little bass boat out here. I promise I am the kayaking chef to the core, but I do like to fish out of any sort of boat, so yeah. Okay, so we have 3 largemouth bass. I think what we're going to do today, we're going to go ahead and we're just going to take them, we're going to fillet them right after we go ahead and knock the scales off of them, because I'm going to show you how we can go ahead and do a skin on preparation for this fish. And let's do a little bit different than every day-to-day, you know, frying of it, which I love frying, but I want to show you another way that you can prepare this fish. Let's get in there. I guess we're gonna have to get our hands dirty. All right, let's get this big guy right here. Big guy, I know. He's big out of the 3 that we have in here. All right. Let's take him inside. Okay, so what we're gonna do here, let's set this knife off to the side. Like I said, what we're gonna do is we're gonna knock all of these scales off of here so we can actually make it a skin on piece of fish to serve. All right, so what I have here is a nice little handy dandy scaling tool. Yeah, so very simple. If you don't have one of these, you can also use a spoon out of your drawer. Just kind of lightly scrape these scales. You want to go across or against, you want to go against the grain right here to actually make these scales pop off. This will probably make a mess, so what we're going to do is we're going to lean over the sink over here and actually get these scales off. So let me show you how this works. I'll get a few of them off and then we'll get back to this. So as you can see, these scales come right off. This largemouth bass actually have small scales, so they come off quite easily. So yeah, I'm gonna get this fish cleaned up and we'll get back to it. Alright, so as you see, we got the scales off now. Nice and soft. Clean flesh. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take our electric knife. We're going to get this filleted out, this bad boy. Alright, so whenever you're using this electric knife, tips are on fish like this, you want to come up as far at an angle as you can, because there's a big chunk of meat up at the top of this head right here. So you want to make sure that you catch all of that and you don't waste any meat on here. And what we're going to do is we're going to drive this knife all the way down to the backbone. Once you feel that resistance from the backbone, you're actually going to stop. You're going to start easy does it come along this backbone. And then put just a little bit of force. You want to drive that knife down that backbone, trying not to cut through it. And we're going to go all the way through the tail. If we were just taking this fish, leaving the scales on it and just filleting it out so we can fry it, we would actually leave that tail hanging on, flop it over, and then use it as a guide to be able to run that knife through there. So here we have it. Whoa, we got some eggs in there. This must be spawning season. That's good to know for my next trip in the kayak. So we're just going to set that aside. And we're going to do the other side. What I like to do is I like to keep the backbone or the upper spine of the fish towards me, so it's a little bit easier of a guide to run this knife through. So we're going to take it again at an angle through it. Gently find your backbone. And then there we have it. 2 nice fillets. So now we're going to take the stomach out. We're going to actually take the backbones. We're going to cut along them. We're going to cut all the way out. So now we have a nice piece, skin on, largemouth bass fillet. Beautiful. That's good to know. That's good to know for next. All right, we'll get our board washed up and let's get to cooking. Okay, we're going to go ahead and finish prepping the rest of the food that's going to go with our nice largemouth bass. What I want to do is show you how I prioritize or make efficiency in my kitchen. I kind of picked this up along the way while working in a restaurant. You don't want to start on the thing on the entree that takes the least amount of time. You want to go ahead and get started on the thing that takes the most amount of time. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and start on our potatoes, since that's going to take a process of boiling, and then we're going to actually saute them to make a nice like hash potato to go with our fish. So let's get started. And I'm not going to put y'all through this whole grueling of preparing, which doesn't take very long at all anyway, but I'm just going to go ahead and show you how I get these vegetables and potatoes and stuff chopped up for preparation, and we'll go through the steps. Alright, so we have our potatoes cut up. Pot of water. Fill us up a pot with clean water, cold water. That should be good. Roll this board to you a little bit. We can actually just sweep the potatoes right into the pot. All right. Let's get those turned on. We'll actually just put a little bit of salt and pepper in there. You don't need the pepper, but the salt. We're going to let those go until they're nice fork tender. We're going to actually just strain them out and get them ready for saute. So let's move on. Next is going to be our broccoli. What I like to do with the broccoli, we can just take this nice hard piece off right here. We can actually use this if you want. If you shave it down a little bit thinner instead of throwing it away, you can actually put it into this mix, but we're just going to do the florets right now. Pull these florets apart. And again, you're going to come to another little hard piece that you can trim off. Okay. I'm going to put these into a bowl. A little bit of olive oil. Salt and pepper. Just toss around just a little bit. The good thing about these broccoli florets is they act like a sponge. These little florets right here. I mean, all the oil and the salt and pepper gets all in those little beads at the top of it. It gets it nice and seasoned all the way through it. So you have a nice little power punched, flavor punched bite. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a sheet pan. Alright, we're going to take a little basic sheet pan, spread these out on there. And then we're going to roast these in a 350-degree oven. probably about 10-12 minutes until they get a nice little brown colorization on the top. And as you hear, my oven is ready to go. So yeah, let's throw those in. All right. So we're gonna move on to cutting up our stuff for our potatoes. We have a sweet onion. I do like yellow sweet onions. They have a lot of flavor. It's not just an onion flavor. It has a sweetness about it to add to where I don't have to add any kind of sugar or anything to it to sweeten it up. So we're just gonna peel this onion. And we're not going to use this whole onion. We're not going to need that. And we're going to cut little juliennes out of it. And we're going to save that for later. Same thing with the garlic. Nice little slivers. If you're not comfortable with cutting like this, you can actually use a mandolin. You can use minced garlic if you like. I just like the bigger chunks of garlic because I love the taste of garlic. And these will lend a nice little kind of a crunch to the dish as well. Okay, we'll just push that aside for later. Garlic, onions. Next, we're going to cut a little green onion to put in our potatoes. Okay, so that will go in the potatoes. And we'll actually cut some garnish to go on top of our dish. Like I said, we will be making a restaurant quality dish here, so you've got to have some type of garnish to go on the top of it to make it pretty. I do believe your spouse or significant other or friends will definitely take notice to having a nice little garnish, edible garnish on top of their dish. It shows that you put forth a lot of effort when actually you really didn't. Alright, see? Nice bias cut green onion, so that will actually just go nicely on top of the dish. Man, that's going to be pretty. Prep work is done. See how easy that was? Let's take our fish now. We're actually going to put just a little bit of salt and pepper. We'll set that aside, and we got one more item. Every dish needs a sauce. So let's get that. We're going to take this lemon, slice it in half, turn it upside down. You want to turn it upside down to keep the seeds in the lemon. So you actually squeeze all of the juice from this, and you can actually just kind of turn it upside down, get any kind of excess juice that needs to happen. But again, all of the seeds just got squished inside the lemon. Let's do that again for the rest of it. So if you don't have fresh lemons like this, you can take the lemon juice. You're looking at probably about 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. We have 1 tablespoon heavy whipping cream. Not whipped cream, people, okay? This is heavy whipping cream. I know some people might actually go to the store and actually pick up whipped cream and say, hey, he said to use whipped cream. No, this is actually heavy whipping cream that it is used to make heavy, this is used to actually make whipped cream, but this is actually just the milk version of that. No sugars added. So we're going to take this, we're going to turn this on a little bit. We're going to put it on medium to low heat, just to get a little bit of a bubble out of it. We're actually going to take 1 sprig of this rosemary. We're going to throw it in there to kind of get that steeped, a little bit of rosemary flavor in there. We will not keep the rosemary in it, but we want the flavor from it. We're going to take our cold butter. It needs to be cold butter, not melted. Cold butter, we're just going to take it, cut it up in little small cubes, because we're just going to put a little bit of this in at a time. We don't want to put the whole stick in there because it will break. It will cause it to make the oils rise at the top, and it won't be a nice smooth butter. So yeah, let's get this working. We have our whisk ready. We're actually going to put just a little pinch salt and pepper in there. Let's check our potatoes while we wait. Nope, not ready. Okay, so you see we actually have some simmering going on now. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to let this cook just for about 30-45 seconds. Just so we can get that flavor out of that rosemary. Okay, so we're going to turn this down to low. Make sure all the boiling goes away. And we're going to put in 2 pieces at a time of this butter and whisk it. You want to make sure you stay whisking it so it doesn't break on you. What I mean by break is the oils will come to the top and it will not be a pretty creamy sauce like it needs to be. So 2 at a time until they melt. 2 more. And we're going to go all the way until this 1/4 pound is melted into our butter. And you can actually do this sauce. You can actually use lemon juice and a little bit of a white wine or like a Chardonnay or something like that to actually give it that extra punch. You can use any other fresh herbs that you want, thyme, basil. You can actually put a bay leaf in here. So you can make this sauce whatever you want to make it. This is just kind of a base sauce that you can branch off of as you want. Okay, when we get towards the end, you want to go ahead and kill the heat. That way it doesn't keep cooking, but it still melts. And that is the last of our butter. So as you can see, we have a nice, thick, creamy sauce. That's what you're looking for. Okay, so all of our butter is incorporated. We have a nice, thick, creamy sauce. It's now slowly starting to cool down. You don't want it cold because it will seize up. It will be hard to pour over your dish. It will, when you go to try to melt it again, it's going to break. So you want to keep this, you only want to do enough just for what you're eating at that time. You don't want to do too much thinking that you're going to hold it for leftovers or anything like that. You want to just do just enough to be able to get by with this dish. So this right here is going to give us, I'd say probably enough for 4 dishes. So I mean a family of 4. The recipe that I just gave you with the 1/4 pound of butter, that should do it for about 4 dishes. So let's keep moving. Alright, let's check our potatoes. They should be getting close since I cut them up so small. And that they are. Let's go ahead and strain these potatoes and we'll put them aside for the rest of our cooking. Alright. So we just strained our potatoes. We got them in a nice little vessel for further cooking. Check our broccoli. Oh, it's looking ravishing. I'd say about another 2 to 3 minutes that broccoli would be done. Alright, so let's move right along. Okay guys, let's go ahead and get started on this to complete our dish here so we can put it together. We're going to go ahead and sear off our skin side down on the fish. We're going to get a nice sear. We're going to do that probably about 70 to 80% of the way to cook it on the skin side. You want to get it nice and crispy. And then we're just going to flip it over and we're going to sear it on the other side just for about another probably minute and a half to finish up the fish. We're going to get our flames heated over about a medium heat on both of our skillets because we're going to cook this simultaneously so we can get this dish put together and rolling. Everybody's hungry, so they're ready to eat, so let's go ahead and get this put together. We're going to start our skillet. We're going to put a little olive oil. Put a good little bit to where we can actually get the skillet nice and coated. Once you get it coated, we're actually going to use some of this in our potato skillet. Also in our potato skillet, we're going to put a few pallets of butter. I like the flavor of the butter to add with the olive oil. Alright, so as you can see, our skillets are getting hot. We're going to test our skillet. We're going to see. Alright, so we hear a sear, so that is actually hot enough skillet. And I'm going to go ahead and turn on my hood vents, make sure my smoke detectors do not go off. So, pardon the noise. Alright, in our potato skillet, we're going to go ahead and throw in our onions. We're going to let those cook till they start lightly brown. You want to keep pushing on this skin, because I know we scored the other side, but to better guarantee that you're going to get a nice crispy skin, just keep pushing down on it. It's not going to hurt the fish at all. So as you start to see the onions start to cook brown a little bit, get a little color to them, you want to throw in your garlic. You're going to allow the garlic just to toast just a little bit. You don't want to overcook it, because it gets a bitter flavor to it that you don't. That's very unpleasant. So just get a little bit of color to it. You want to go ahead and season the other side of the fish. You do eat both sides of the fish, as my mentor once told me. So you want to make sure you season both sides of that fish. Alright, garlic is starting to get a little bit of color. Go ahead and add our potatoes. We're going to add our green onions that we cut. Add a little bit of salt and pepper. Our onion powder. Garlic powder. And our fresh rosemary that we chopped. We're going to actually turn the heat up just a little bit more on those. You want to kind of get a little color to the potatoes. We're going to get our plate in place for our plating of the dish, because we are getting close. Go ahead and check our skin. Looking nice, but not quite there. Make sure you're pushing down on it. So as you can see, the edges of the fish are turning white, so it's actually starting to cook through. You can start to see that it's pretty close. I mean, we're probably 80% of the way to cook, so we're going to go ahead and flip this fish. Oh, that looks beautiful. So as you can see, you have a nice crispy skin on there. That's just what you want. And these potatoes are done. We're going to go ahead and turn the heat off on that. We're about ready to plate. As you can see. All right, so we're going to go ahead and plate this dish. I'm going to show you how we do it in the restaurant. This is going to be center to plate. I like to do center to plate. Keeps the plate nice and clean. Gives you a lot of room. You also want to do it on a nice size plate to where you can actually eat the food, not have to worry about stuff falling off of your plate. So you want to give yourself or your guests, room to actually eat the food. So we're gonna put our potatoes down, and they smell good. That should be enough for one person. We'll take some of our nice warm broccoli and the fish. And we got our sauce, still nice and thick. You can leave this at room temperature while you're cooking. You don't want to get it hot, you don't want to get it cold. So you want to just kind of hold it next to the oven or next to the stove and just keep it nice and warm. You're going to spoon that over the top. And we're actually going to take some, put it around the plate for dipping for our broccoli, potatoes, anything like that. And then of course, our nice garnish to make this plate look like we actually slaved over the stove all day long. This is restaurant quality food. I would serve this in any restaurant that I own or have worked at. So again, we have largemouth bass, not fried, so it is very light. It is a different preparation than what most people are used to, which is cornmeal fried, served with french fries, hush puppies, which I love all of that. But this is a different technique used on the same fish to show people that this fish is very versatile. Louisiana seafood is awesome. We have an array of different seafoods, largemouth bass being one of them. So yes, we are blessed and highly favored down here in the South, and I mean, you really can't get any better than this. I mean, you probably can, but right now we're not getting any better than this. So let's dig into this plate and see how we like it. Okay guys, so it's right at lunchtime. I'm about to dig into this plate, let y'all know how it is. Skin's still crispy. So yeah, let's try this out. Potatoes, fish. Use my broccoli to soak up everything. Skin is still crispy. This is how we do it in the South. Louisiana seafood, largemouth bass. Can't get any better than that. Look down in here and press subscribe. If you like what you see, I'll be sure to include the recipe to this dish also below. I'm gonna leave y'all to it. I'm gonna finish this dish. This is Chef Ryan Andre, aka the Kayaking Chef. Please be sure to follow. Until next time.